Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The quieter a man becomes, the more dangerous his silence is misunderstood. That's not a threat. It's a reality. Because when a Sigma male goes cold, people panic. They assume he's angry, arrogant, depressed, or worse, emotionally dead inside. But here's the plot twist. His silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. And here's a fact most won't admit. According to multiple behavioral psychology studies, emotionally reserved men are often misjudged as antisocial, when in truth they're just tired of society's emotional noise pollution. See, Sigma males don't play by the be warm to be liked handbook. They don't fake smiles. They don't hand out energy like free samples. And no, they're not out here trying to win your approval with hugs and heart emojis. Their coldness, it's not rejection, it's protection. So before you judge his silence as stone-hearted, you might want to ask why he stopped talking in the first place. Because today we're breaking down the 12 brutally honest, no-fluff reasons Sigma males act cold. And spoiler alert, it's not what you think. Buckle up. This isn't going to be comfortable, but it will be real. Number 1, they've realized some people deserve ice, not fire. Sigma males have learned the hard way that not everyone deserves their warmth. It's not about being mean or cold-hearted. It's about survival. When a Sigma male shows up with kindness, honesty, and genuine energy, some people see it as an open door to walk all over him. So over time, he stops handing out the best parts of himself to just anyone. Instead of warmth, some people now get ice. And not because he's trying to prove anything, but because experience taught him that certain personalities only understand distance, not closeness. He's not here to be everyone's emotional babysitter. He won't pretend to care just to avoid conflict or play nice so you feel comfortable. If someone's constantly bringing drama, manipulation, fake vibes, or emotional games, he shuts down, quietly, quickly, and without warning. And that coldness, that's not revenge, that's his version of closure. Some people expect explanations, emotional unpacking, second chances. Sigma males don't do any of that. They just vanish into a mental freezer and leave the door locked. What really confuses people is that he wasn't always like this. He used to be more open, more giving, more available. But people kept mistaking his warmth for permission to take advantage. So now he's adapted. He doesn't argue, he doesn't beg, he doesn't chase. He just withdraws emotionally and mentally. And the colder he gets, the more people start questioning what went wrong, when really they just failed his test of respect. A Sigma male understands that warmth is a gift, not a guarantee. You don't earn it with flattery or presence. You earn it with consistency, loyalty, and depth. If you bring chaos, he brings silence. If you bring manipulation, he brings distance. If you think he'll beg for your attention, you'll only find yourself staring into a wall of emotional frost that never melts. He's not trying to teach people lessons. He just no longer invests in the undeserving. And truthfully, some people function better when they're kept at a distance. Some only behave when they know they can't get close enough to cause damage. So he stopped being warm to everyone and started being cold to protect everything that's still good in him. That's not heartless. That's boundaries disguised as ice. Number 2, they're bored of performing normal. Sigma males don't have the energy or the desire to keep performing the role society expects from them. Acting normal feels like bad theater. Fake smiles, shallow compliments, pointless conversations, and pretending to be interested in things they couldn't care less about. It's exhausting, not because they're socially awkward, but because they see through the performance. They know when people are faking it, and they refuse to match that energy just to blend in. So instead of forcing laughter, overexplaining feelings, or nodding through nonsense, they go quiet, detached, even cold. It's not that they hate people. It's that they hate roles. The pressure to be constantly approachable, expressive, emotionally available, and socially correct is nonsense to them. They weren't built to be actors in society's emotional drama club. They don't want to clap at boring conversations. They don't want to act like everything's fine when it's clearly not. They don't want to keep showing up like a polished, cheerful robot just to make other people comfortable. Most people perform because they want to be accepted. Sigma males don't care about that kind of approval. They'd rather be seen as cold than be seen as fake. And to them, this coldness is actually authenticity. They're not being rude, they're being real. If they don't find something funny, they won't laugh. If they're not interested, they won't pretend to be. And if someone expects emotional entertainment from them, they're not showing up for that audition. The truth is, Acting normal has never worked for them anyway. It's like wearing someone else's skin. It doesn't fit, and it makes them feel disconnected from themselves, so they stop trying. Their coldness is not the absence of emotion, it's the rejection of forced connection. They'd rather be alone in truth than surrounded by people in a lie. That quiet, distant energy, it's not depression, it's a quiet rebellion. It's how they protect their soul from leaking into performances that mean absolutely nothing. They've realized that pretending to be on all the time isn't socializing. It's self-betrayal. And that's something they just can't fake anymore. Number 3, they don't emotionally rent themselves out by the hour. Sigma males have zero interest in being emotionally available on demand like some kind of human vending machine. They're not built to hand out comfort, compliments, and connection just because someone's feeling bored, needy, or insecure. They've learned that the moment they show emotional warmth, people start treating it like a subscription service. Press a few buttons and boom. Get support, validation, and attention on cue. But it doesn't work like that. Not for them. Their energy is sacred, not up for casual distribution. They don't give emotional access just because someone shows up, smiles, and says a few nice things. They're selective, brutally so, because they know what happens when they aren't. People start taking them for granted. They begin to expect responses, support, and care like it's part of some invisible contract the Sigma male never signed. And if he doesn't deliver, suddenly he's cold, distant, or selfish. But what most people don't realize is that Sigma males don't owe their emotional presence to anyone. They don't feel guilty for not replying to every message, checking in constantly, or offering endless reassurance. That's not how they operate. They connect deeply, but rarely, and when they do, it's real, not forced, not scripted, and never transactional. People often confuse their distance for cruelty, but it's really boundaries. A Sigma male refuses to allow his inner peace to be rented out by every emotionally unstable passerby. If someone only shows up when they want attention or validation, they'll be met with silence, not as punishment, but as protection. Because Sigma males know, the moment you start handing out your energy like candy, people stop valuing it. They start expecting it. So now, instead of being emotionally available to everyone, they choose who earns access. And if that means some people label them as cold, so be it. They'd rather be misunderstood and at peace than drained and resentful. Their emotional availability is no longer a public service, it's a privilege, and not everyone qualifies. Number 4, they've accepted that most people aren't listening anyway. Sigma males have realized one of the most exhausting truths of modern communication. Most people aren't actually listening. They're just waiting for their turn to speak. It's not a conversation, it's a performance, a competition, or worse, a monologue disguised as dialogue. So instead of wasting energy talking to people who aren't truly present, Sigma males go silent. Not because they have nothing to say, but because talking to a wall is pointless. And they'd rather protect their thoughts than throw them into a void. They've experienced it too many times. The moment they start opening up, sharing a deep idea, a personal story, or even a quiet opinion, someone interrupts, changes the subject, or hijacks the moment to talk about themselves. That kind of interaction doesn't just feel annoying, it feels disrespectful. To a Sigma male, being half heard is worse than being ignored. So instead of repeating that cycle, they just shut down emotionally. It's not bitterness, it's efficiency. They're not interested in surface-level noise or ego-driven chatter. They speak when something needs to be said, not just to fill silence. But when people show they're not really listening, when their eyes wander, when they give generic responses, when they clearly weren't paying attention, Sigma males log that moment like a mental receipt, and next time they don't bother. What people see as cold is often just a response to years of not being heard. Sigma males treat their words like currency. They're not spending them where they don't yield connection, insight, or respect. They'll sit through conversations with a blank stare, not because they're rude, but because they've detached. They're not invested in noise that doesn't nourish them. This is also why Sigma males tend to form very few but very powerful connections. They'd rather have one person who listens deeply than 100 who nod while thinking about what they'll say next. It's not introversion, it's precision. So yes, they may seem cold, but that coldness is a defense mechanism forged from repeated disappointment. When your voice echoes back empty for long enough, silence becomes sanity. And Sigma males have made peace with that. They don't talk for sport, they talk for substance. If that's not available, they'll keep their words and their warmth to themselves. Number 5. They've seen how warmth is often weaponized. Sigma males have watched warmth get used like a Trojan horse, something that looks genuine on the outside but is secretly designed to break in and take. They've seen people play nice, get close, soak up emotional support, validation, advice, or even access to their peace, and then disappear like it never happened. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. And after it happens a few too many times, they stop seeing warmth as just kindness. They see it as a risk. So now they don't hand it out freely. They know some people only show affection as a strategy. They act interested when they need something, act loyal when they're lonely, or pretend to care just long enough to get what they came for. And then they're gone. No explanation, no accountability, just silence and a lesson. Sigma males have replayed those moments in their mind like crime scenes, and every time the root cause was the same. They were too warm to the wrong people. So now they do what most people won't. They freeze first. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. If someone gives off even a flicker of manipulative energy, fake interest, or love-bombing vibes, they'll shut the gates before the person even realizes it. No dramatic confrontation, no emotional speeches, just instant detachment. Because Sigma males don't play emotional roulette anymore. They know that real warmth doesn't drain you, confuse you, or vanish once it gets what it wants. And until someone proves they're not just there to take, the Sigma male's emotional temperature stays cold. It's not a punishment, it's a filter, a way to separate the opportunists from the genuine few. And if that means some people walk away because they didn't get instant access to his heart, perfect, that was the test. This isn't bitterness, it's intelligence with boundaries. Sigma males are warm souls with locked doors, not because they're hiding anything, but because they've been robbed before. Now, instead of reacting to emotional betrayal, they prevent it altogether. They've stopped giving people the benefit of the doubt and started giving them the burden of proof. If someone can't handle that level of emotional security, they were never safe to let in. Number 6, they refuse to be entertainment for bored people. Sigma males aren't your entertainment, your emotional crutch, or your backup plan for when life gets boring. They didn't sign up to be your personal circus act when you run out of things to scroll on your phone. They're not going to fake interest, carry dead conversations, or play therapist just because someone's afraid to sit with their own silence. That's not what connection is. It's emotional labor disguised as friendliness. And Sigma males don't do emotional labor unless it's earned, mutual, and meaningful. They see right through the people who only reach out when they're bored, lonely, or need a quick ego boost. You know the type, the ones who ghost for weeks and then suddenly want to talk just to catch up. The ones who want deep conversations but never offer depth in return. Sigma males won't entertain that. They'd rather be called cold than become someone's emotional pit stop. And this isn't them being antisocial, it's them being intentional. They don't hate company, they hate empty company. They're allergic to performative friendships and fake social rituals. Being around people who just want noise, validation, or someone to distract them from their own unhealed chaos. That's the real drain. Sigma males would rather sit in peaceful solitude than perform like some background character in someone else's life. When they go quiet, distant, or seem detached, it's often because they've sensed that they're being used as filler, as a way for someone to avoid dealing with their own emptiness. And Sigma males don't sacrifice their time or energy for people who treat them like temporary amusement. They've got better things to do, like building, thinking, evolving, not stroking egos or killing time. So if you're looking for someone to entertain your boredom, you've come to the wrong person. A Sigma male won't tap dance through awkward silences or inflate your self-esteem just to keep a vibe going. That's not coldness, that's boundaries with a backbone. And if that makes people uncomfortable, so be it. Sigma males didn't come to make people comfortable. They came to stay real. Number 7, they've been burned by the empathy trap. Sigma males don't lack empathy. They just learned the hard way that empathy in the wrong hands turns into a trap. They've been there. They opened up. They cared. They listened. They gave people their time, their emotional energy, their presence. And at first it seemed genuine until it wasn't. Because the moment people realized the Sigma male had a soft spot, they stopped respecting it and started using it. They saw the quiet empathy as a green light to dump, drain, and disappear. That's the empathy trap, when people confuse emotional intelligence with emotional availability on demand. Sigma males have watched people take advantage of their calm energy, their deep listening, and their non-judgmental nature. What started as a connection quickly turned into one-sided emotional weightlifting. Suddenly, they weren't equals anymore. They were therapists, babysitters, fixers, and the worst part? The moment they needed support in return, those same people were nowhere to be found. So now, Sigma males protect their empathy like it's gold. They don't show it to everyone. They don't offer it freely. Not because they've stopped caring, but because they've started choosing who deserves that care. They've learned that not every sad story needs their emotional investment, and not every person who opens up is genuine. Some people see empathy as a weakness, a soft entry point, a way to control or manipulate. And Sigma males, they've shut that door completely. They've become selective, not bitter, discerning, not cold-hearted. Their empathy is still there, but you'll only see it if you've earned it. And if you think they're going to jump into every emotional mess you bring just to prove they care, think again. They've outgrown that trap. Now they ask, is this person showing growth or just feeding off my peace? They're no longer interested in saving people who aren't even trying to swim. And if that makes them seem distant or uncaring, they're fine with it. Because they know that empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. They didn't lose their capacity to care. They just stopped wasting it on people who mistake it for weakness. That's not coldness. That's survival. Number 8, they're not cold, they're on energy-saving mode. Sigma males aren't cold, they're conserving energy. Their mind is constantly on, constantly analyzing, constantly thinking 5 layers deeper than most people even realize. While others can coast through surface-level conversations and mindless chatter, Sigma males are processing everything: tone, intent, micro-behaviors, inconsistencies, emotional shifts. It's not passive listening, it's full-on, high-performance cognition, and it's draining. So when they pull back, go quiet, or seem distant, it's not a glitch. It's them switching into energy-saving mode. Just like your phone dims the screen to save battery, Sigma males reduce unnecessary emotional output when their internal resources are running low. They know that every interaction costs something: time, focus, emotional bandwidth, and they're not about to spend it on things that don't matter. Being on socially, constantly available, constantly polite, constantly responding to surface-level noise, that's a luxury they don't entertain. Not because they're arrogant, but because it's inefficient. Most people don't notice how much mental energy they waste entertaining pointless conversations or maintaining fake connections. Sigma males do, and they cut it off early. They've learned that people can be like open tabs in your brain, draining mental RAM even when you're not actively thinking about them. That coworker who overshares, that friend who always needs reassurance, that acquaintance who can't stop talking about nothing, every one of them is a background process, slowing the system down. Sigma males shut those tabs fast, not because they hate people, but because they value clarity. To outsiders, this looks like coldness. They don't reply quickly. They don't hang around after small talk. They don't jump into every social interaction with sparkly enthusiasm. But inside, they're just managing their inner world with ruthless efficiency. They're avoiding burnout. They're preserving focus. They're staying sane in a world that expects 24/7 emotional availability. So no, they're not cold. They're just not wasting battery on things that don't fuel them. They're not trying to be mysterious or hard to read. They're just tired of overextending for people who think presence equals permission. Energy is limited. And Sigma males spend theirs like it matters, because it does. Number 9, they hate small talk like it owes them money. Sigma males treat small talk the way most people treat spam emails: glance once, delete forever. It's not that they're rude, it's that surface-level conversation feels like an insult to their brain. Talking about the weather, asking how the weekend went, swapping empty pleasantries or rehearsed compliments, it's all just noise to them, mental clutter. And Sigma males don't do clutter, especially not in their headspace. They're not interested in filling the silence. To them, silence is peaceful. It's not awkward unless someone's forcing fake interaction. If a conversation can't go beyond the script, if it can't challenge a thought, unlock something deeper, or reveal something real, they lose interest in seconds. They won't fake laugh. They won't pretend to care. They'll nod politely, then vanish like a ninja in a suit. What makes this worse for others is how smoothly they do it. There's no dramatic exit, no rude shutdown, just graceful ghosting. One moment they're listening with that sharp, unreadable expression, the next they're mentally miles away, fully disengaged. They don't fake connection, they don't sugarcoat disinterest, they simply disappear from pointless conversations like they never even showed up in the first place. It's not arrogance, it's preference. Sigma males crave conversations that crack something open, something philosophical, raw, strange, intense, even uncomfortable. They want to explore what people hide, not what they rehearse, but the world's full of people who wear masks and call it communication. Sigma males spot that instantly and check out just as fast. They don't flirt for sport, they don't compliment to be polite, and they definitely don't do forced enthusiasm. That kind of interaction feels like emotional junk food, empty, repetitive, and mildly irritating. And if you catch them zoning out during small talk, just know they're not distracted. They're calculating whether the conversation is worth keeping alive or if it's time to let it die quietly. So no, they're not trying to be antisocial, they're just allergic to the shallow stuff. If it doesn't go deep, it doesn't get their energy. It's that simple. And if that makes them seem cold, then cold is just another word for honest. Number 10, they're filtering for depth, not ignoring you. When a Sigma male seems distant, detached, or cold, he's not ignoring you, he's observing you. He's watching how you handle silence, how you respond when you don't get instant validation, how you behave when there's no emotional hand-holding. This isn't him being moody, it's a filter, a quiet test. Because if someone can't survive his calm, calculated quietness, they were never going to survive the depth that comes after it. Sigma males don't flood people with attention to keep them around. They strip it all back to see who stays without the fanfare. Their cold demeanor is how they sift through the noise, who's authentic and who's just here for the emotional sugar rush. If someone gets uncomfortable because he's not constantly smiling, talking, or oversharing, that's the answer right there. He doesn't need to push people away, they eliminate themselves. He doesn't perform warmth to keep things smooth. If you need a constant stream of emotional affirmations, playful chatter, or flattering words just to feel okay, he's not your guy. Sigma males need depth, not demand. They value people who are comfortable in silence, who don't need to fill the space just to feel seen. Because their mind isn't built for surface-level anything. It's wired for intensity, thought, and raw truth. The silence you're reading as cold? That's where he's doing all the work. He's studying how you carry yourself when no one's clapping. He's paying attention to how you respond when there's no instant feedback. Most people fail this test because they crave noise, attention, and constant signals of approval. But the ones who can sit in that space and remain grounded, those are the ones who earn access. To a Sigma male, real connection doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you can't hear it through the silence, you'll never hear it through the words. So when he seems cold, it's not rejection, it's selection. He's not ignoring you. He's just waiting to see if you're real enough to stick around when there's nothing flashy pulling you in. If that quiet makes you run, then trust him, you weren't meant to stay. Number 11, they know the world isn't safe for vulnerability. Sigma males have learned, sometimes brutally, that vulnerability is not always met with care. In a perfect world, opening up would lead to deeper trust, understanding, and connection. But in reality, they've seen how often it leads to exploitation, judgment, or emotional betrayal. So they don't keep their guard up to be dramatic or mysterious, they do it to survive. They've had moments where they shared something real, maybe a weakness, a fear, a scar, and instead of being met with empathy, it was later used against them, thrown back in their face during an argument, gossiped about behind their back, or turned into a story that someone else twisted for attention. Once that happens enough times, you stop handing people the bullets to shoot you with. That's not being cold, that's being smart. To them, vulnerability isn't just emotional, it's strategic, it's a calculation. Is this person safe? Have they earned this level of access? Will they protect what I give them or use it for leverage? And until someone passes that test, the Sigma male remains armored. He might listen, he might even be kind, but he won't open the vault. That level of emotional exposure is reserved for the very few who've proven they can handle it with respect. This doesn't mean he's emotionally numb. Quite the opposite. He feels things deeply. But he expresses those emotions in carefully chosen moments with carefully chosen people. He doesn't want to be dissected, pitied, or misunderstood. He wants authenticity, and he knows that most people don't know how to handle emotional depth without panicking, projecting, or making it about themselves. So the armor stays on, not to appear tough, not to push people away, but because the world has taught him that being open in the wrong room can be soul-damaging. He's not shutting down, he's just staying intact. And if people call him cold because of that, that's fine. Let them. He'd rather be wrongly labeled than recklessly exposed. For Sigma males, vulnerability isn't about sharing everything, it's about protecting what's sacred. And until someone shows they understand that kind of value, they'll only get the surface, not because he's hiding, but because he's healed enough to guard the rest. Number 12, they've seen how overexplaining leads to misinterpretation. Sigma males have learned that the more you explain yourself, the more material people collect to misunderstand you, judge you, or flat out twist your words. It's not that they don't have thoughts, they have plenty, but they've seen how even the most sincere explanation can be misread, taken out of context, or used as ammo later. So instead of oversharing, they choose silence, not as a power move, but as self-protection. They've been in conversations where they tried to clarify their intentions, only to watch the other person hear what they wanted to hear anyway. They've been in situations where being honest backfired, not because they said something wrong, but because the other person wasn't listening to understand. They were listening to react. And Sigma males don't play that game. They realized that people aren't always looking for clarity. Sometimes they're looking for a weakness in your words, something to debate, something to challenge, something they can emotionally manipulate or throw back at you later. And Sigma males, they don't give them the opportunity. They've made peace with being misunderstood by people who don't matter. It's better than being misquoted by people who never really listened in the first place. They don't waste time defending themselves in circles, explaining their reasoning to people who aren't trying to understand, or spelling out every detail of their emotional process. If someone can't see their intentions through their actions, explaining won't help. It'll only complicate things, especially when ego or drama gets involved. That's why they go quiet. That's why they seem cold or unreadable. Because in a world where words are often used to trap, twist, or provoke, silence becomes the sharpest form of self-defense. It's not that they've got nothing to say, it's that they've said too much before and watched it backfire. Sigma males have learned that their peace matters more than being understood by everyone. They save their explanations for those who truly deserve to hear them, those who listen with care, not curiosity. And for everyone else, they let the silence do the talking. Not because they've shut down, but because they've finally figured out how to stay free. In a world that rewards loud voices, shallow charm, and emotional overexposure, Sigma males move in the opposite direction, with quiet calculation, selective presence, and unapologetic detachment. What many mistake as coldness is actually refined self-preservation. It's the result of years spent observing, absorbing, and surviving in environments where sincerity is exploited and vulnerability becomes currency for manipulation. Sigma males aren't heartless, they're careful. They've been the emotional anchor, the silent listener, the fixer, and they've watched how that role slowly drains you if you offer it to everyone. So now they protect their peace with precision. They go silent when the conversation is fake. They ghost when the connection is transactional. They detach not to hurt, but to test, not to punish, but to filter. They don't hate people, they hate pretense. They don't lack emotion, they just refuse to perform it on cue. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's insulation. Their coldness, a boundary forged in fire. They've been burned by false warmth, worn out by small talk, and stretched thin by emotional freeloaders. Now they choose where their energy goes, who earns their presence, and what version of themselves the world gets. So, the next time you meet a Sigma male and feel like he's cold or distant, know this. What you're seeing isn't absence. It's discipline. It's the quiet power of someone who no longer gives everything to everyone. Someone who values depth over noise, loyalty over flattery, and truth over comfort. Because in the end, Sigma males aren't here to entertain you, fix you, or impress you. They're here to be real. And in a world addicted to emotional sugar highs, that kind of authenticity will always feel like ice to the unprepared. If you've made it this far, you're not here for fluff. You're here for truth. And if that hit different, don't just disappear into the algorithm abyss. Hit that subscribe button, not for us, but for you. For content that actually respects your intelligence and gives you real insight, not recycled nonsense. Like the video if it sparked something in you. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, your experiences, or just let us know which point hit the hardest. We read them, every single one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been misunderstood, labeled cold, or just quietly powerful, share this video with them. It might be the validation they never got. We're not building a fan base. We're building a tribe of thinkers, rebels, and deeply self-aware individuals who don't just follow the crowd, they question it. So subscribe, like, comment, share. Let the world know we're not cold, we're calculated.